What's going on, guys? Mr. Jones again. Today we're going to learn about solving multi-step equations. It's very similar to what we did last time. Last time had only one step, and this one is going to have multiple steps. So we're going to be doing that using inverse operations. So I want you to go ahead and put this in your notes. Hopefully you can see all of this. Basically, I'm going to go over the steps and then I'm going to move on. So make sure to pause if you need to. All right, step number one, whenever you're solving these equations, you always have to make sure that you distribute, if possible, on each side of the equation, which means get rid of all your parentheses. And I'm going to give you an example of that here pretty soon. The next thing you need to make sure to do is combine your like terms on each side of the equation. So this is not a time where you can cross over the equal sign. Students always want to combine like terms on the whole entire equation, but you have to do it for each expression. In other words, on each side of the equal sign only. Step number three, after you've done all that and you can't combine any more like terms and there's no more parentheses, now you're going to use reverse PEMDAS to isolate the variable. So make sure to write that down. I'm going to explain that to you in a minute. And after you do all that, you're going to plug your solution back in to make sure it's correct, just like I showed you guys how to check your work last time. All right, so now let's do some example problems so you can see what we're talking about here. First of all, you should see that PEMDAS is already written on the screen. So I'm going to show you some different stuff about PEMDAS. The way we've always done PEMDAS before is in this direction, right? I like to call that the do direction. This is whenever you do an equation, do. The other way, reverse PEMDAS, is whenever you undo. And in other words, it's whenever you solve for a variable. You're always going to go variable. You're always going to go in reverse order. So make sure you put this in your notes so you know what we're talking about whenever we say reverse PEMDAS. All right, here's an example. Let's go ahead and do a problem really quick. Let's get the black marker back. All right, here we go. First example. You're going to solve this 2.5x minus 13 equals 2. So right away, you can see we have an x we have to solve, and so hopefully you remember the goal is to get it all by itself. So how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to follow those steps that we talked about before. And so step number one is to distribute. If you look in your notes, it's to distribute. Well, I don't see any parentheses, so we can skip step one. Step two is to combine all like terms on each side of the equation. Well, as you can see right here, we have an x term, and right here we have a number term, so there's nothing to combine there. And over here, we have nothing to combine because we literally only have one number. So, down to step three. Remember, we're going to use reverse PEMDAS. Let me scoot this over a bit. Reverse PEMDAS. So you're literally going to the bottom and saying, hey, I need to get rid of everything on the side with the x. So I got to do it in this order. I got to get rid of all addition and subtraction first. So you look over here for the addition and subtraction, and you say, hey, what am I adding or subtracting on the side with the x? And hopefully you can see that I have a negative 13 here. So that's what you want to get rid of first. Go ahead and add 13 to both sides. Remember, just do whatever you do to both sides. On step three, using reverse PEMDAS, we're getting x by itself. So we have 2.5x left over because that all canceled out. And 13 plus 2 is 15. Awesome. So now you say, do I have any more addition and subtraction? The answer is no. Nothing is being added or subtracted. And now you move up to the multiplication and division, and you say, am I multiplying or dividing? And the answer is yes, x is being multiplied by 2.5. So to get rid of multiplication, we divide by 2.5. And we have to do it on both sides. And this cancels. Whoop. And we get x equals 6. Last step, we're supposed to just plug it in. So look at your original equation, 2.5x. X is 6 now. Minus 13 equals 2. So that's my original equation. But I just plugged in what I think is x, which is 6. Now I multiply these. 2.5 times 6, well, it's got to be 15. And 15 minus 13 equals 2. Is that true? 15 minus 13 is 2. Does 2 equal 2? Indeed it does. So we know we got it right. All right, next example is a little bit different. So that was the simplest one. This one is negative 12 equals 9x minus 6x plus 15. Rule number 1 talks about distribution. We have no parentheses. Go ahead and skip it. Rule number 2 says to combine all like terms. Now we have an x term here and an x term here, so we need to combine that. So negative 12 stays the same. Positive 15 stays the same. And 9x minus 6x is 3x. And now we have no more like terms. And now we can move on to reverse PEMDAS. So look again, any addition or subtraction you can do. Yep, I'm adding 15 on this side with the x. I don't like it over here. So let's get rid of that first by doing the opposite, which is subtracting 15. That cancels, and we're just left with a 3x over here. And 15, negative 15 and a negative 12 is a negative 27. Now, any more addition and subtraction? Nope. Nothing is being added, but I am multiplying by 3 here. So let's go ahead and divide both sides by 3. 27 divided by 3 is 9, but this is going to be negative 9 because it's negative 27. And this canceled out and gave us this. So x equals negative 9. Now I'm going to save you the hassle of watching me plug it in so you don't have to watch the longest video, and move on to the next example, the last example, I believe. So here we go, last example. Actually, 1 second here. All right, so here's the last example. I just put it up there real quick. The first thing we need to do is step number 1, which says to distribute. And thank goodness we finally get to do step number 1. So distribute, this means that we're going to multiply everything on the outside by everything on the inside. Remember, this negative sign right here goes with the x. So I think that I'm going to circle that so we know all that goes together. Okay. All right, so 2 times 1 is 2. And 2 times negative x is negative 2x. Bring down the positive 3. And bring down the equals and the negative 8. Excellent. So now I have no more parentheses. Next step, combine like terms. So I have a number here and a number here. And 3 and 2 equals 5. And I still have a negative 2x. And nothing happens over here. All right, now I can go down to reverse PEMDAS. I'm going to do this a little bit faster because we've done it a couple times. Any addition or subtraction? Yes, I have a positive 5 over here. And so you're just basically saying, how do I get rid of a positive 5 with a negative 5 on both sides, right? Cancel those. This negative 2x is left over. And you go ahead and subtract this, and you get negative 13. Okay. Now, any more addition or subtraction? Nope. So let's go ahead and this is multiplying. So to get rid of multiplication, you divide by whatever you're multiplying by. Boom, get rid of that. And we got x equals 6.5, not negative. If you're thinking negative, be careful. Negative divided by a negative is a positive. And once again, you can plug that in to the original equation to test that you're right. In this case, I know that I'm right because I am looking at the example in the book. All right. So with that being said, we are all done with this video. Hopefully this is review for you guys. You should have learned this in 8th grade, but not to judge anybody. I understand that a lot of people need the review and maybe didn't learn it very good the first time, and that's okay, but I am going over it kind of quickly, so don't hesitate to pause this video and rewind, and don't forget that we have office hours, so we'll be talking about those so you know when to come and how that works. All right, guys, take care.